Ladies and gentlemen, Salam alaikum. Good afternoon. I want each and every one of you to close your eyes for the next couple of seconds. Seriously, close your eyes, guys. Imagine with me this feeling of warmth that overcomes you when you help a blind person cross the street, when you help an old woman by holding the door for her. Imagine this feeling of peacefulness that overcomes you when you help one or two people. But imagine that helping hundreds, if not thousands of people. Yes, you can do that. I can do that. We all can. Open your eyes. You see, life in my country has been torn apart for the last 30 or 40 years by wars, assassinations, bombings, corrupt politicians, violence, unrest, you name it. But life has persisted in Iraq. And the youth of Iraq will change that paradigm. You see, it all begins with youth. A quarter of the global population and a third of my countries are made up of youth. If we can motivate them, if we could actually give them the skills necessary to rebuild Iraq, to lead, to be creative and innovate, we will make a generation that's capable of changing the paradigm, changing the course of history. I have those two amazing friends. They shared one dream. They shared the dream of bringing peace to Baghdad. Young Nauf, a 22-year-old, and young Zain, a 23-year-old. They wanted to celebrate the International Peace Day in Baghdad 4 years ago, amidst all the violence and unrest in the country. Literally, the country was going through a civil war. For 2 years, they wanted to celebrate peace in Baghdad, but they couldn't. For 2 years, everyone told them it's impossible to do it. For 2 years, permits were not given. For 2 years, everyone told them to stop. But they cared less. 2 years later, specifically on September 21st, 2011, they successfully convened over 100 youth leaders, and they made the dream come true. Baghdad Peace Celebration was a huge success. Thousands of people, even more than thousands of people, attended that celebration. Media covered it, smile was everywhere, it was a success. I was inspired by that. It touched me so deeply. My father used to tell me this story that I never had got the hang of it until I began working with the Baghdad Peace Celebration. He used to tell me that this young man, ages ago, wanted to marry the daughter of the king of the land. But the king's one and only condition was that, you can marry my daughter if you could build me a palace, even bigger than mine, within 7 days. Mission impossible, right? But the young guy did not say no. He worked on and on and on for 7 days. At the dawn of the 7th day, the king woke up to a shadowy morning. He looked through the window to find a palace overshadowing his. The king came to the young man and asked him, I'll give you everything. Just tell me, how did you do it? The young man answered, I worked on, and I never looked back at how much I've done. I've never looked back to see how much I have left. I just did it, and I succeeded.